Welcome back, everyone. Going into hour 3 here of week 39. Adam, we're sitting down for a picnic with a wizard.
Okay. All right. So you all approach and sit.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you go and you sit, and you're sitting in the shade of this willow tree, growing by the banks of the stream that runs by, and she's kind of got this little area set up in between two of the big roots that kind of like extend out into the plain, and and so she gestures for you to sit, and I think without speaking, she picks up a clay pitcher and pours glasses of some kind of sweet smelling liquid and hands them to each of you.
Do not drink those.
I was like about to drink it, and then I
Right.
like kind of embarrassed. I put it down.
Everything in here is going to be a test. We're reading that.
I kind of look at Ramus and see that I need to patch things up after he's just probably insulted the wizard. I apologize, ma'am. We're not thirsty at the moment, and we just kind of I put my glass down, but we do appreciate the offer.
Berg holds it up. He's like, "What's in it?"
You can see her, even though she has like a veil on, so you can't see most of her face. You can see her eyes, and she smiles a little, and she says, "Just wine. You're not thirsty."
No, not at the moment. Maybe soon.
And so she reaches down beside her, and she's got this simple wooden bowl, and she holds it out to you, Berg, and she says, "Hungry, perhaps?" And you look at it, and it's full of the tiny little red jewels of pomegranate seeds.
Don't.
I think maybe Berg's like, and then Ramus says that. He's like shakes it off. Like, thank you, but no.
Yeah, she pouts a little, like you see her eyebrows furrow slightly, and she turns and sets the bowl down, and I think she just looks expectantly at you, kind of like, well, if you're not going to, enjoy the food and drink I'm offering you, then, she just kind of like waits for you to say something.
You never answered. Are you the wizard that commands this tower?
She says, "I command nothing."
But you are the wizard that resides in this tower, perhaps.
She kind of shrugs slightly. "I reside many places and am called many things."
Ramus, maybe this is best suited for your cutthroat conversation.
Tell me a lie.
She looks at you, and she says,
I'm very worried. I'm kind of furrowing my brow, trying to understand why he would say that.
she says, if it's untruth you're looking for, then why seek anything further than a mirror, Ramus? Everything about you is a lie.
Now
You're clad in them.
That is mean. Okay, that's just mean. I
She-
don't like her.
She grins and she says, "The dead are as welcome as the living in my home."
Not dead. I'm alive.
She sighs and she sighs and kind of shakes her head, and she says, "The distinction is somewhat academic."
Ramus, I believe we had some questions.
She hasn't answered the question. Are you? What's her name?
Inanna.
Are you a Nana?
There are some who call me this.
That
That
is
is-
a yes.
That is about as vague as you can get, lady.
Wolves. That's all Berg says.
Yeah, and she looks at you and says, "What of them?"
Do you know of any curses or magic that could turn humans into wolves? either against their will or allows them to voluntarily transform. Non-magic people.
So you've come here to ply me for information, to demand knowledge. And in exchange what? Am I simply to give you the fruits of my labor for nothing when you've rejected my gifts?
Not demand.
We have gold if you need payment.
She shakes her head. She says, what use have I for gold?
Why did you show the wyvern to me?
She kind of like turns her head towards you and she says, is that what you saw?
Yes.
She you can see her kind of smile, like her cheek raises a little under the veil. And she says, fascinating. Every guest sees something different.
What if you see nothing?
She just sighs and like shakes her head and she says, I'm sorry.
And I kind of whisper to Ramus, like, it was really scary. You didn't want to see anything.
Berg,
When I see something scary, look at her that hood.
We like kind of snicker. Like,
does she hear that? I would imagine she
Oh
does.
yeah, she can hear it. She doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
just scared. Yeah.
Berg kind of goes serious face and just like, the man on the stairs.
My
Who
gardener.
is he?
A young boy got lost in the woods. I saved him.
Berg eyes narrow. Saved.
Yes.
From what?
Poor reincarnation. Come back as a dog, perhaps, or a rat. But he's mine now.
He died.
She nods. It's not so hard, once you know the trick, to pluck them from the air before they're gone. Mold them into something else. Like my doorman. He served me for a very long time.
Let's say that someone does that and there are bad effects afterwards. How would one go about dealing with those bad effects?
I think you and my gardener are opposites of one another. He is a soul without a form, and you are a form without a soul.
So I just need a soul.
She shrugs. Based on my experience, they're everywhere. Like ripe figs hanging from a tree.
Do you feel any evil in me?
She looks at you, and
Darkness.
and when she makes eye contact with you, it's as if there is no one else in the whole world. Like just any memory or thought of your friends or any other person you've ever experienced in your life just fall away as if like you and Inanna are the only two things that have ever existed.
Shit.
And she says to you, and you feel like your friends couldn't possibly hear this. Obviously, for everybody else, they just make eye contact. She says this, but she says, "I knew that there was something special about you the moment you set foot in my garden. I would love to have more time to figure out what it is."
Oh, okay.
How about this? We let you investigate and examine Berg here in exchange for you telling us about the curse we wanted to know about.
If I tell you what you seek, you'll leave him with me.
We need him, but so we would need it to just be for a while.
Yes, Only a while.
Only a few days, to be specific.
Berg looks at her and he's like,
I think you know my past.
holds up the bracer. Like,
I will not return
She
in
shakes.
one form or the other.
Yeah, she shakes her head and she says, "I have no need for slaves."
Very well.
Okay, so she the irony here is that I guess so even though Ramus is like treating you like property, right? Like we'll leave him with you, and then was like she's still focused on you, Berg, and
Yeah.
she
interesting.
she puts a hand out to like seal the deal, to like to take your hand, to shake your hand, and to seal the arrangement that you'll stay with her for a few days, and in exchange, then your friends will get the information that they need.
I think as you extend your hand,
So she puts out her hand, and her the sleeve of her like shift kind of like slides back, and
Does it slide back on its own?
she lifts her arm, so her sleeve like falls back.
Scary.
Yeah, and her hand is like plain, like she doesn't have her nails done or anything, but her wrist is as perfect as her eyes. Like there's just like you find yourself like, again, your mouth like fills with saliva, like you're just like enthralled at the sight of her skin.
Yep. Berg, do you reach your hand out?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's kind of what we've implied, that's what's going to happen.
I think before you make contact, this entire time, Enoch's kind of been the theme of death, or the conversation about death or the soul or afterlife or whatever, has kind of had him fixated on recent occurrences, and he kind of like snaps to and grabs Berg's hands and pull him back, and he goes, how long after one passes do you need to be able to pluck their soul?
She says, it's more complicated than that. When one dies, they return to heaven and await their next life. The archives of heaven are not so well guarded. If I go looking for a soul, I might find it on the shelves.
Are there ways to help with that? Because I happen to know 3 people who might serve you well in
And
return
she,
for this information.
She scowls a little and she says, I have no need for servants. If I need someone to serve me, I can simply conjure them from the air.
Well, these would be much more than servants. They were my lifelong friends.
I think their souls are not yours to bargain with. You may have owned their bodies. Their souls belong to them.
What about these other people in your tower? Could not the same be said for them?
She thinks about it a moment and says, they've all made a choice.
Well, perhaps these 3 would make a easier decision if they saw me standing next to you.
She turns and kind of scowls at you, and she says, I don't want your castings off. And besides, they're not all dead yet anyway. And then she looks at Berg and she says, this is the one I'm interested in. It's him or nothing. And besides, you'll get him back.
The same.
Not a slave.
Now,
Just
did
hammering
you
that
say that you could get any soul back?
She says, not back. There's no back. Just sideways.
Let's say someone lost their soul a long time ago, and they wanted it back very badly.
Not back, sideways.
Sideways. Do you have that power? Or know someone that does?
She says, not I. But I know those who have more sway in these things.
Let's throw that in with the deal.
An introduction, then.
An introduction, yes.
One thing. I know they want things. Berg wants one. Freedom.
Holds up the bracer.
You help with this.
She sighs. And when she does, I feel like maybe you can tell me how you respond to this, but your feeling is one of regretting ever having asked. Like you've like just the tiniest exhalation of breath where she's just like, you're like, like you can feel your heart break a little. And she says,
I think Berg just says,
Damn it.
she says, not because you've angered her, but because you've made her admit the thing she's about to say. And she says, some things are even beyond the power of mighty Inanna.
Fine.
I kind of rejoined the group after being upset by what she said regarding my friends.
Uh-huh.
And just chime in regardless of what Berg's about to say or regardless what the topic of conversation at hand is, and just blurt out like, I just want them to be happy and not have to live a terrible reincarnation. I hope that's clear, ma'am.
And she looks at you and she says, oh, poor boy. No one can give that to your friends, nor you, nor anyone. Life is suffering.
I think when she says life is suffering, Berg goes,
I look at her and say, well, I thought it wasn't. I thought that's what you were offering, but I understand now.
She nods and she says, a wise lesson to learn if you speak with another wizard who promises you power, riches, freedom, happiness. She shakes her head. None of those things are true.
Well, ma'am, I've had all those and I just want vengeance now. So can we have this deal, get our information and move on?
And you can see her smile and she says, vengeance. Yes, this I understand.
Berg, are you...
and then Berg, extends his hand back out.
Okay, cool. So several days later, Berg returns to the inn in which you've been staying, waiting for him, having no memory of time having passed. I think, Berg, the only thing I think you get, we see you, like the door opens to the inn, and Berg, you step in looking confused. You have several days of like a beard growth on your chin. And you don't remember how you got here. You don't remember like the street. You just remember touching her hand, and then walking into the room.
Yeah. So I just basically went through like a fucking time portal.
Yeah. So the rest of you, when Berg touched in on his hand, you remember her, like him, I guess, like falling asleep, right? Like she kind of like touched his hand, and he you could see his eyes roll back and he fell asleep, and she like cradled his head in her lap and was just kind of like brushing his hair as one might a child, and then dismissed you. You left her tower and headed back to the inn. Now, did you all just like wait at the inn for him to come back, or for a sign or something, or did you do anything during those days?
Well, did we get the information afterwards? Like, what was the...
No, she just said, like, I will return him to you and he will know what you need to know.
Okay. What were we going to say, Ann?
I was just going to say I spent my time at the inn, like, with my sketchbook, my painter supplies.
Mm-hmm. Are you, like, drawing the things you remember from the place, like the wyvern under the tree?
Yeah, I drew a scene of Durak with his falafel cart, but in the wizard's tower, like in
cool
the area.
Yeah. Nice. I like that.
I think.
I spent
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
I spent the past few days reading a very steamy novel about a young noble woman who fell in love with a half-orc slave, and it was a little tryst.
Nice.
I think Enoch was preparing for the fight. In terms of if he went out on his own, he went out on his own to buy bolts. Maybe look for a weapon shop to see if they had anything in stock that would potentially help. Armor shop as well, just kind of visiting the town.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So if there's anything, like I mean, you could have like bought whatever gear you needed. I think that the house of the Falcon, because you're staying so close to it, I think that the gates lie like open and broken the whole time. No one comes out to repair them. The whole place is just like it lies as it was, and I think that so Berg, I guess we can start with this. The door opens and you see Berg looking like he's been like wandering the city alone, like he's covered in mud up to his knees, and looks very like not himself. Berg, you were very confused. All you remember is the door opening.
What did she do? No.
Yeah.
At this point, Berg does not know what's going on, and he's just wandering. And you're saying I wandered into the inn?
Yeah, the thing that comes back to you is just like the door. Yeah, the feeling of the wooden surface of the door as you pushed it open, and then your friend sitting at the table.
For this scene, I'm out looking for a potion shop to buy from in the midday or whenever he shows up.
Okay.
So I'm not
All
there.
right. So it's Ramus and Ziva sitting in the main room of the inn.
Well, don't just sit there. Help him, Ziva. He needs help.
I like
Continue to read my book.
I like put down my like drawing supplies and I'm just like, Berg, you're back. You look great.
Right. I think when you say, Berg looks at himself, he's like,
Goody. How long?
Oh, it's been like 3 days.
Several days. Yeah.
It's been a few days, Berg. Do you remember anything?
thinks really hard.
No.
No, you know
don't.
nothing.
But you notice, Ziva, you notice that Berg has around his neck a piece of jewelry that either you didn't notice before or he didn't have. It's a leather thong with a piece of like clay, and the clay is just stamped with a strange kind of like design. It looks a bit like an N. It looks like it was just like pressed into the clay with a simple tool. It's just a sign or a sigil.
Okay. So I like run up to him and I like try and grab it, but he's too tall. So I kind of make a jump for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I can't reach it. So I'm just like, what is that?
Give it.
Like a cat.
Berg, looks down, is like, like bends down.
Yeah, it seems really familiar to you, Berg. Like looking at it, it's like a thing that you've had. It feels like you've had forever, right? It's just like a very comfortable, familiar object, but you don't know what the sigil means.
Ramus, do you know what this is? And I'm holding it in my hand.
That is a half-orc named Berg.
No, look up from your book.
Oh, sorry.
Have you ever seen this before?
I know, but that is ugly. I don't know why you would wear that, Berg.
He wasn't wearing it when we left him.
Oh. By the way, do you remember anything? You've been gone for a long time.
No, he already said he doesn't pay attention. He doesn't remember.
Sorry, it was a really good part, all right? So,
I shook her hand. And that's it. Now I'm here.
well, come over here and sit down and get a drink.
Berg's still like really confused, just kind of like, okay. Walks over.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So am I regarding this necklace thing as like something that like that's normal?
No, you know that it's like out of place, but the
Okay.
emotional attachment to it is like a childhood like toy or something. Like you're like, oh yeah, that thing, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess Berg can kind of like be like, like, like maybe shows it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can examine it more closely, Ramus, if you want to.
Sure, and I'll also start channeling detect magic as a ritual. So 10 minutes pass, and then I can tell what school of magic is coming from it, if anything.
Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, the thing is radiating divination magic for sure.
Well, there's definitely some magic in this from divination. I don't know what it does, but she must have given it to you for a reason.
Maybe it's the information that we need. She did say she was going to give us information.
That is true. First, let's do the important thing. Did she tell you who I should meet for my soul?
No. Not that
Damn
I
that
know.
woman.
Well, it's got to be tied to this somehow.
Do
We
you
just
know
have to figure out what the symbol means.
Do you know anything about the wolves, Berg?
Again, thanks.
No.
Yeah, you feel like kind of like hungover or like you got a concussion or something. Like everything's real foggy for you, and you just kind of want to like lie down or like eat something and then lie down. You don't feel great.
Yeah. I was just gonna say Berg's just gonna he was about to say.
I need to rest. Maybe then more will come back. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you should take a shower too. You're covered in mud.
Do I smell?
A little bit.
It's
Berg just like gets up, like goes, and then
Go.
nods to them and
Go get yourself some sleep, buddy.
So I look at Ramus, and I say, okay, so he came back smellier, and he knows nothing about any of the things that we asked, and all he has is this necklace. So this has to be, baby, the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals ever.
Either she screwed us over, or the necklace is our answer, and we have to figure out how. One or the other.
Well, where do we look up this symbol? Do you have a book?
You can make.
Maybe
I
in
mean,
your book?
Ramus, you can make a religion or an arcana check if you want to see if you recognize it at all, just at
Sure.
a glance.
I'll do both of those. First, religion.
Okay. Okay.
Average religion check.
So it doesn't appear to be the symbol of any of the arcana. None of the known sigils to indicate the Mara that you're familiar with.
All right, and then the other one was Arcana.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this is not your it's supposed to indicate someone or something, but it's you can't. Yeah, you don't have the symbology to know.
Ironically, I think we would need a wizard's help or someone else's.
So Berg, you find your body heavy climbing the stairs, right? Every step, mud flaking off of your boots as you drag yourself back to the room. You don't even get a chance to really like call for someone to bring up like water for the bath before you just kind of fall asleep with your shoes on the bed, right? Like you sit down for a minute, and you're like, okay, and then it's kind of like, pass out, but like you feel the heavy warmth of sleep come over you.
yeah.
And you dream. You dream about. At first, you dream of a dark wood. You dream of a group of men. They look like peasants, but they're armed with like spears and torches, and they're in this wood, and you can feel they shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be in the wood. They know they shouldn't be in the wood. You can see on their faces, their simple faces, this look of like fear, but that they're here for some reason. They're hunting something or trying to find something that's been taken from them. And you follow them through the moonlit wood to a cave. And in the cave, we don't see or we have no visual appearance of this, but these men stand outside the cave, and one of them shouts in a language you don't understand into the cave, and a deep, angry growl comes from inside the cave, and you can just barely make out the furred shape of a creature inside and its red eyes. A few of the men sort of like fall back, and the man that leads them kind of shouts for them to bolster themselves. And they hold their spears, their makeshift spears, tight, and we see them go into the cave. Time passes, and we see one of the men emerge from the cave. He's missing an arm. He comes staggering out, bleeding, and he looks like he's got a big like claw mark on his face. And as he staggers out into the light, we can hear a deep chuckle from in the cave, some low gurgling sound of self-satisfaction as this man with his arm torn off staggers out into the woods. And we see him staggering through the moonlit branches, and he falls into a clearing. By a river, and we see his face in the water, and with his good hand he tries to like drink from the river, and in the surface of the water we can see behind him, we see the moon hanging overhead, and he groans in pain, staggers forward, his blood drips into the river, and we watch as from the ripped stump of his arm, his bone and flesh form a new furred arm that emerges from the stump and drops down into the mud of the bank. We can see his jaw break, his teeth like tumble down into the water as a snout emerges from his face. He screams in pain as his whole body is sort of torn apart from within. And what we see instead is this horrific kind of chimera of man and wolf. And he howls in rage and pain. His fur is still wet as if he was just like born with his own blood and gore. And he runs howling into the woods. We see him disappear. We see the House of the Falcon. And we see this vision fade. The House of the Falcon, limned in silver light from the moon, and a group of travelers arrive at its gates. They are looking, road weary and hungry. And we see them. There's a group of 4 of them, and they're carrying bags. And they come to the door, and we see one of them push the gate open, and the group of them come into the grounds. We see them make their way up to the house, where you can see one of the travelers arguing with a nobleman about something. And again, you don't understand what they're saying. It's that weird dreamy thing where you can feel the emotion more than you can hear the words. And they're arguing, and the noble pushes one of the travelers down. Another traveler draws a knife. And then a guard comes from the doorway and stabs one of the travelers in the chest. And then they shut the door. And the other 3, they follow the one who's been stabbed in the chest. And you can see him as the life kind of leaves his eyes. The man that was pushed down turns to look at the house and snarls. You can see in his face, and his eyes are the eyes of a wolf. And we see him snarl, and he says something and reaches into his pouch and throws like a handful of dirt on the doorstep of the house, and then spits. And the 4 of them they leave. They carry their injured companion, but we don't see them going back down the road. We see them disappearing into a copse of trees on the grounds. We see the moon go down, the sun come up, and it does that kind of time-lapse thing where you can see many days passing. And the house falls into disarray. The windows grow dark. Vines grow up around the edges of the house. We can see the servants all leave the house, save for one. There's a woman, a dark-skinned woman in a white, we've seen her before, in a white shift. And we see her inside slowly withering away as the house does. So at first you see her, she's a strong young woman, but shrivels as the house does, until we see her at last sitting in her wheelchair in the pool of light that comes in through the window as the house has sort of fallen into darkness. The last thing that we see is a man. We see the noble dressed in his bedclothes emerge from his room and walk up behind the servant. He puts a pale hand on her shoulder, and she doesn't jump in surprise. but looks back at him, sort of resigned, and we see his drawn face in the light. We pan out to the garden, and we can see now that as the house has fallen into disarray, so too, sort of inversely, have the wilds overtaken the land around it. The trees have all grown wild and strange, and we can see little creatures flitting around. You recognize them. We see these darklings being given access to this world by the crime that was committed here, and we see them kind of flitting around in the trees. And one of them is pouring one of those potions at the in the roots of one of the trees, and then giggling and clapping as the tree's branches come to life, and the tree sort of tears itself up from the ground and kind of lumbers off. All of this happens as we come to rest. Our vision comes to rest on the gazebo, overgrown and full of these blood orchids, and you can see that among the group of wolves sitting kind of contentedly around the gazebo, there's a man, and he's sitting holding his chest, and he puts his hand out, and you can see the blood on his hands, and where the drops of blood fall into the soil, orchids grow. And that's the last thing that you see. Maybe you start awake several hours later. It's now like deep nighttime. And you wake up in this bed in the inn.
Shit. Yeah, I think Berg wakes up and just like,
What the?
then immediately like gets up and goes to find the others to tell them what he saw. What time is it? Did you say?
You have no idea. It's just like late, and you wake up like covered in sweat and like breathing hard.
Yeah. Yeah. He wakes up just like breathing, like panting, and just trying to process what he just fucking saw. He understands what it is, but
Enoch, Ramus, and Ziva, are you like asleep when like does somebody get woken up by Berg being startled, or are you all still downstairs like having a drink and talking, like because he's back and you want to give him some space?
It depends on how late in the night this is. Like, if it's,
yeah, I think it's late-ish. It's late enough you could have gone to bed, but you could still be awake if you've been
probably still up because we're still like talking about Berg being back and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. That's kind of what I was thinking. You're kind of like, we'll let him sleep. Like, let's try to talk.
Right. I think I got back from like the potion shop, and I'm just barraging the two of them with questions, asking like, what did he say? Blah blah blah, and they don't have any answers, obviously. So maybe that's like when Berg wakes up.
Yeah.
Comes downstairs.
Yeah, I don't know, Berg. How loud do you like when you wake up? Do you like shout and they hear you downstairs?
I think if we're gonna snapshot of him waking up, it's just like,
yeah. So you
like he might like even thump the wall or something.
Yeah. So you all hear. I think you hear the feet of the bed like scrape against the floor. You hear Berg shout suddenly through the floor down below.
Well, I think he's up. Ziva, you have a nice rapport with him. You want to go check in on him? I don't want to jump in and ask too many questions.
I like kind of roll my eyes and like go upstairs. And I like knock on the door.
Yes.
Berg, it's Ziva. Can I come in?
Yes, fine.
So I like open the door. How did you sleep?
Crazy dreams, visions. I have to tell the others. Take me to them.
Okay. Can you stand? Are you okay?
Yeah, so you stand
like,
up. You're a little shaky. Like Berg stands up and again the bed like
gets
slides
up and like
a
below
little.
like,
I'm good. Where are they?
Downstairs. Come on. And I like kind of grab him like his hand. I was gonna say arm, but he's too tall. So
yeah.
Yeah, more moral support than anything.
yeah. Let me go downstairs.
Okay. So Berg, you come downstairs and what you just like have like the blanket like wrapped around your shoulders. Like you
I
didn't
guess,
take time to,
yeah.
like, get dressed or anything. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, as he's
Figured-
walking down the stairs, me and at least I am. I don't know if Ramus is, but we're just kind of watching him walk really slowly and not saying anything because we don't want to like just throw so much at him that he's gonna get upset. We know he's Berg. We know we can't throw too much at him at once. So we're just cautiously waiting for him to sit down or however he's gonna act.
Yeah, I think Berg grabs a chair and like nestles into it and sits for a second, tries to like kind of staring off like a little bit, just kind of thinking of the vision and all that and everything that happened. There's a lot of shit that happened in that dream. I would RP everything out that he said, but you said a lot of shit.
That was
So
a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do the thing, right, where it's like I saw something
yeah,
crossfade to the next
Yeah.
thing.
yeah. Berg starts up.
So you tell him, you tell him
Yeah.
what you saw.
Yeah, exactly. So Berg starts.
Visions of the house and the wolves
And then I think maybe one of them tells like probably Ramus like focus, and then he collects his thoughts and tries to slowly throw it all out there, and then he finishes with, after a long-winded explanation of what he saw, he's just like,
and then I woke up, sweating, heart pounding. I don't know if it's real, but it's what I saw.
Well, that sounds like a message to me. Ramus said it would make
Yeah,
sense
that-
for them to talk through the dreams.
Must be the necklace. Divination magic usually does this sort of thing.
Does it say? Does the necklace do
Let's-
anything else, Ramus?
Let me try sleeping with it tonight. My answer might be in it. For me.
Give me your magic necklace, jackass. I want my presents.
Where's my scary dream?
Exactly.
But it sounds like we're dealing with cursed men that cursed the house.
"First man."
Okay, well, I think tomorrow we should go back.
These
to
are
the
no
grounds.
ordinary wolves. We've at least know that.
Yeah, but we can't go about the town just spouting off knowledge that we've learned. That's gonna put too many eyes on us. I think we should just go deal with it, be done with it. But we'll figure it out in the morning. You go do whatever you need to with the necklace.
Okay. So you're just all gonna like go back to sleep, or like call it a night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting kind of late.
All right. Ramus, you have no dreams you can remember in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lion woman.
Do we just hear that when you wake up?
Yeah. God damn! I knew I. It's all right.
You have a powerful vision. You see before you all of the other students of the priest school at which you were raised, and they're all looking up at you, and you're standing on the dais, and you realize you have to give a speech, but you've forgotten what to say, and then you realize you're not wearing any clothes.
Oh.
I think when you say that, I kind of come to after a couple seconds. No luck?
No. Or at least this isn't the way I'm going to get at my answer.
Okay, well,
Hmm.
yeah, maybe a couple days with it or something. Maybe you could spend some more time with the necklace, try to understand it.
Possibly. I'll try studying it in my free time.
Okay. Berg, you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I got you a present, Berg.
What?
I got you some delicious pomegranates since I didn't let you eat the ones at the Wizard Tower.
Did you
I saw
actually?
you eyeballing them. Yeah,
Did you actually?
There's a bowl of pomegranates next to your bed.
Oh.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you.
And he just eats them.
See, I'm not an
No-
asshole, all
No
right?
regard for the seeds.
Pomegranates contain sodium benzoate. All right.
Was Ziva? Were you sleeping in the same room with us, Ziva? Just passed out in a corner somewhere?
Yeah, I have like a bedroll or something I just put on the floor.
Okay. All right. Well, I assume we're all downstairs. I just, in the middle of a discussion, I look at Ramus and say, is there any more prep we need to do before we go in to the grounds? I kind of want to deal with that today. I'm getting anxious. I want to make sure we can at least bury something.
I'm just worried is all about these wolves. Because there are curses where, like, they're cursed to not die. And they won't die until you kill the person that cursed them. But I hope that isn't this case.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, what do we do? Just run?
If they don't stay dead after we kill them, then we'll know that we have to find whoever cursed them.
It's probably that lady in the mansion, was it not?
Could be the man of the house. Could be the person in the cave. I don't know. There were a lot of things in that dream.
Okay. Ziva, if we go to the grounds, you help us with the wolves. We'll make sure you can help you with your job.
Deal.
Do we want to go pay a visit to the old lady first? Ramus, what do you think?
Old lady.
In the building on the grounds, the ghost girl.
Oh, the lady in the house.
Yeah.
I don't like her.
Well, I know you don't like a lot of people, Ramus, but I'm saying would it help? She might have some information about why the men are those way. She didn't seem too upset with us being there. She just wanted us to get out. Maybe we could say we're helping.
Yeah, so we go back in after she told us to get out. That seems like a great idea.
Well,
I don't know. She could be, for all we know, she could be controlling the wolves. But we did ask her, and she said she had no idea about wolves last time we were there.
that is true. That makes sense. Might have been lying.
Either she doesn't know about them, or she was lying. And lying is just rude.
Adam, can I make a roll to know if I have ever heard any like folk tales about werewolves?
Oh yeah, totally. Roll history.
21.
Okay.
I'm not looking for exact information.
Oh, sure.
More so just like, hey, it's been said if you fucking hit a werewolf with silver, it does more damage or something like that.
Yes, that's how folktales usually go.
You know what I'm saying.
Mom, that's not a great
And then
story.
Hansel and Gretel took their +5 swords. They murdered the witch because they were high enough level to do it.
You know what I'm saying.
I do. So, yeah, I mean, like werewolves are a very like European myth in real life. So thinking of it as that is probably a mistake, but shapeshifters are mythologized everywhere, right? Like the word werewolf would not be familiar to any of you as characters in the game.
Right.
But like, yeah, like every mythology has their shapeshifters, whether it's the like Rakshasa, who are like shapeshifting devils, whether it's like the jungles have stories of like ape men that can change their shape, lots of like fairy like mythology, like sort of spirits that can take human or animal form.
What about the Mara?
Right. Well, so the Mara, the funny thing about the Mara is that the actual Mara, they can grant all kinds of things. So being possessed or being cursed by the Mara might make you like take another form, right, that you don't want to. But they tend to be tied to these mythologies tend to be tied to the moon, both the arcana and to like the literal like object in the sky, because the moon is the arcana of illusion, of falseness and deception, right? And so there's that idea of like taking an animal form, deceiving your soul's true form, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, like you would know stories about how, yeah, the shapeshifters all have in common they're tricky. Many of them are like cannibalistic, like they eat human flesh. There are various things that may or may not hurt them. Like sometimes it's cold forged iron. Sometimes it's silver. The magic of a wizard. Sometimes it's like true love. It can repel them. But the idea is that they have generally in these stories they have a weakness, but they're not always the same from shapeshifter to shapeshifter. Some of the stories tell of shapeshifters that are stuck going from human form to the form of like a tiger and back. Others have an in-between shape where they're like a berserker chimera. So it's without knowing more about these particular things, the story of any individual creature is often tied to like a moral or a lesson. So like they are afraid of silver because silver represents the moon, and the moon is the thing they're afraid of, right? So it would depend on what caused them to become shapeshifters, and knowing their personal story is what would give you insight into their weakness.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to. Do we want to like prep more, or do you guys just want to go fight? Speaking out of character.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to get any more information.
Have we really learned that much other than just, I guess, they're werewolves? Maybe.
Basically, we learned that they're cursed men.
Yeah. Cursed men.
Couldn't we just go during the day and then they won't be wolf form?
We were there during the day last time when they were wolves.
Yeah.
When we first met you. It was during the
This
day.
type of werewolf doesn't give a fuck.
Huh.
I think it was like mid-afternoon.
Okay.
My only fear is that we get in there and like one person can hurt them. And
Yeah.
then the other 3 people are just like, well, good luck. Can't really help. We can go find
Other
like
than getting like
We
some
could-
spells or some shit like that, like, potions or spells that like help us. For you guys, I don't know if you can get like scrolls or anything like that. Berg's all about fucking melee, so
Yeah.
health pots, and that's pretty much it.
Well, I went to go
Berg
buy
alive.
health pots yesterday. We didn't really discuss it, but how much gold do
Yeah.
we have, Dan?
We have like 1,700.
Okay. We would have bought 4 health pots. They're 50 gold each, unless there's inflation in the town. You tell me, Adam.
Should be, I imagine.
No,
It's a big
no,
city.
not yet. And it's a really big town, so the inflation stuff takes more to set in.
Okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, with health potions, you don't even have to like haggle for those. You can get them if you have the money.
Okay. Yeah, I bought 4. I'll just give 2 to Berg, and then if Ramus is okay with it, I'll take 1, and we'll give 1 to Ziva. Then
Yep.
Yeah.
I can.
I got spells.
you can what, Am?
I can buy my own.
Oh, okay.
Also,
Okay. So how many potions did you buy? 6? What you said, or
I think 4. We
4
bought
total?
The group bought 3, and then Anne bought her own.
Okay,
So 4 total.
got it.
yeah. I have this stuff that I could just unload here probably that I've just been carrying around. It's like 7 bottles of wine, a bloodstone
I
goblet.
mean, you've had them for years, literally.
Yeah. I've literally just been lugging this shit around.
I assume at some point you converted those into coin.
I'm thinking we just convert them into coin because it's literally
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah.
be carrying that shit around anymore.
Yeah, just tell
Okay.
tell Dan how much they're worth.
Let me tell Dan, yeah. So it's the 40 gold from the vial of clear liquid from the tea shop, I think. Oh wait, no. It's 40 gold bag is what I had. So 40 gold.
Yeah.
And another 30 gold. I'm just reading it down. 2 gold.
Yep.
50 more gold.
Yeah.
Another 25. Another 25 gold. I don't have the ivory elephant figurine anymore. Right?
That is true.
It's true. It's gone.
It's gone.
Chuckles is probably dead now.
And then another 25 gold. I have a holy symbol. I don't know what the fuck that. It just says holy symbol worth 20 gold.
That was probably off of my body.
That was
Fuck.
mine, you asshole. You took it off my corpse.
Do you want it back?
No.
Symbol of the wrong god now.
No, I already
Yeah.
sold it. It's
I
gone.
want
I already
that
sold it.
nasty thing.
20 gold. 20 additional gold, and then that should be it.
Okay.
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 270.
That was mine, you asked. I do have Zuaz's spellbook. Yeah.
You want to try to sell the spellbook?
How much would that cost? Yeah, I don't need a fucking spellbook.
11
11 uses on a healer's kit as well.
The spell book, you get 100 gold for it.
Fuck yeah, sell that. Another
Yeah,
100
first,
gold.
first level character spell book. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm keeping that vial of clear liquid though.
All right, well, we're due for a break. Why don't you guys
Okay.
discuss? I'm okay with going and fighting it since I won't be able to talk, so that's my vote. But you guys can discuss
Yeah,
during the
I'm
break if we're
down
going
to fight
to.
it.
And then we'll come back and decide if we're going to go and fight these fucking things. So we'll be right back. Still one more hour left to go here on This Week of Court of Swords. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.